All right, welcome to the 88th episode of the Revolutionary Code, where we bring the truth about how governmental politics actually works in every facet of human existence and how that affects our people, Black people here in America, Africa, and the diaspora. I'm your host, Brother Tamani M. Wandani, out of Houston, Texas. I am the direct revolutionary product of the Shrines of the Black Madonna's efforts since 1953 to build a nation within this nation, to move our people forward in a fashion that will allow us to live in dignity and peace and power. My co-host is Brother Craig B. Lee, who is the Chief Consultant of the Black Gold Nation's National Political Strategy and Implementation Department, as well as our Adult Education Division. He's also the Chairman of LACE, Liberation Advocates for Community Empowerment, the intellectual gangster, corporate grassroots revolutionary, and master domino assassin for Shreveport, Louisiana, aka The Boot, Brother Craig B. Lee. Brother Craig, how you doing this evening?
Absolutely. After my first workout at Planet Fitness, and I will get one.
How'd it go?
Woo! You got to stay on it, bro. You can't take off a week and a half, bro.
Oh man, it's hard to get and easy to lose. For sure. Are you working on cardio, strength, muscle? What you trying to do?
I'm always going to do cardio.
Uh-huh.
I work on some body parts, so I did chest and the bike today, 3 miles.
You don't do your weighted vest walks anymore?
Oh yeah, I still do that.
Oh, you still do that? Okay, all right. So you're trying to maintain or lose?
But not with a weighted vest, just with 5-pound weights.
Okay. So you're trying to maintain your current size? You trying to lose? What you trying to do? Total?
No, I got 20 more pounds. I'm at 230. I got to get down to 210.
Oh wow!
Oh,
Where were you in college?
Get it in. I'm on my 50 pound. If I can get under 290, I'm getting there, baby.
Y'all some big brothers.
I'm getting it there. Now, shit, I gotta get the leftover love off.
That's what it is. Leftover love.
You know what happens, man. You been cupcaking, and it's not now, my new lady, but before you cupcaking, you eating and snacking, and no, it's done. It's
ain't gonna work. All right, let me get back to my show. Y'all taking me off course. All right. So we're not here to just entertain. We're trying to get you to do something. Despite that brief conversation.
We're here to edutain.
Edutain. There you go. There you go. We want to entertain and educate. So despite that brief conversation, which is completely out of the norm, you see what happens when you let guests start talking? We get all off track. So we're not here to just inform and educate. We want to inform, educate, motivate, mobilize, organize, and build. Everything we say and everything we do is about bringing our people together to find the right people, so we can build something that matters, something that has power, something that's going to protect our people, allow us to live on this planet in dignity and in peace, and allow us to do our own thing as we see fit. Tonight's show title is The Economics of Grassroots Empowerment Advocacy. The Economics of Grassroots Empowerment Advocacy. So usually when we have these kinds of topics where we might use some words that everybody might not fully understand and or be common day language, I want to start out by asking Brother Craig 2 questions. Brother Craig, what do you mean by grassroots? Then I want you to tell me, why are we focused on the grassroots?
Grassroots, when you hear me reference that, and typically when it was referenced in the 50s and 60s with the Deacons for Defense or the Black Panther Party or individuals like Steve Coakley or Stokely Carmichael, aka Kwame Ture, or H. Rap Brown, or Malcolm X, when you hear that term, we're talking about the masses of people who are at the bottom end of the spectrum in this system and game of capitalistic white supremacy racism. So these are the individuals who are your working poor, you're downtrodden, you're homeless, those individuals there, and those of us who may have started at that particular level, but were fortunate enough to get some education, some expertise, some experience, and now we are, hybrids, grassroots hybrid in the overall game. But grassroots in and of itself talking about the masses of the people who are disconnected to the economic opportunities and the equity that exists in this system and game.
And of course, we are focused on that particular group because
that's our mission. That's what the Creator put us here for. My political philosophy of culturalism focuses on that, for setting the tone for all grassroots ethnic groups, but our specific focus is on the African descendant segment of that grassroots spectrum. But we set the tone because that's the masses of you have your plutocrats, your oligarchs, your aristocrats who are running the show. And I don't care if you are grassroots white, grassroots Latino, grassroots African, the vast majority of us are on the bottom of the barrel.
Mm-hmm.
And we are the ones constantly, for the most part, being pimped and played in this game. So for those of us who have acquired the skills, the expertise, the education, the experience, it's up to us to become the leaders for that segment so that we can now push to gain equity for that segment. And again, each segment has to have their specific micro leadership.
Mm-hmm.
We have to do it overall because it's our job to rebalance the planet that's out of order. We set the tone at a macro level, but we at the micro level specifically focus on our segment, which is the African descendants here in America and throughout the entire diaspora.
Dig it. Okay. And why be, well, let me go back. The topic, the title of tonight's show is The Economics of Grassroots Empowerment Advocacy. So why be an advocate as opposed to an activist?
Activists respond or they react to issues. Advocates are proactive, so they set the tone to find solutions before issues arrive to the surface. They see the issues, but before they become newsworthy or being covered by mass media or social media, advocates are already seeing what needs to be done. So they do proactive work and activists do reactive work. Both of them are necessary in the process because some things you will have to react towards, but after you've reacted 100 times over the same issue, at some point you have to learn how to become proactive,
right,
and advocate and come up with solutions for those particular issues. So that's the difference between those two terms. Both of them are necessary, but the advocate is pretty much a lobbyist that now is proactive towards resolving issues for the benefit of the liberation, empowerment, and advancement of our people. And then the activist reacts, and they're well-intentioned, but for the most part, most of them are never coming to the table with solutions. Their whole premise is just showing presence and verbalizing their displeasure to try to, get the power structure to have some sympathy and not be evil. But at a particular point, you have to learn that that's never going to happen.
And why do you think we have so many more so many more activists than advocates?
Because they've never been trained. They've never learned the full spectrum of the game. And so without understanding the full spectrum of the game, you kind of just fall in,
right,
and you believe it's all about, and there's never any solution,
Yeah.
right? And so but that's all that they know.
Mm-hmm.
And so now with the advent of social media, it's even worse, because at least back in the 50s, 60s, 70s, the activists literally had to physically go protest,
Right.
march, or whatever they would do in the physical realm. Now, the fools really believe all you have to do is get on social media and jibber jabber, and
And there's a bunch of them too.
and something is supposed to happen at the local, state, federal, and international level. But you know, they've just never been trained, and now it's so bad in the 21st century. Most of these folks don't want to learn. They don't want to submit themselves to learning how this thing actually works. And because we're in the microwave generation, they want things to happen so quickly, and it just doesn't work that way.
Yeah. Do you think which is really it's just a sad statement to even make, but do you think the pushback to learning is because it takes time, or because people don't want to be challenged, or it's like for us, it's like we agonize over critical thinking or thinking, period? What do you think why do you think there's a pushback to learning?
You know, I always tell you, this thing gets down to, and I sent you a thing today, that of the 6 pillars of empowerment, the first 3 are the most critical, the most important human assets: the spiritual, the cultural, and the educational. Within those 3 pillars of the 6 pillars of empowerment, if you acquire spirituality and culture, you also learn the virtue of patience. You learn the virtue of wisdom. You learn the virtue of being quick to listen and slow to talk. So yes, patience, the lack of patience is one thing that happens. And also there's a disrespect component based on the ignorance that the people have. And that disrespect component is they look around, and in their minds, they don't see these major changes. And so in their mind, they conclude, without any actual thinking, and damn sure no critical thinking, that, oh man, these people ain't did a goddamn thing. And they say disrespectful things like, we are not our ancestors. And I just sit back and I was like, these young people have got to be the stupidest ass folks you have ever seen, because to sit up and never have earned any rights. You ain't put nothing on the line. You ain't put nothing on the line now. And to sit up and play this game like, man, if that had been me during slavery, I would have did it. I would have did that. Boy, man, if it had been me, that wouldn't have been me in that movie with Oprah Winfrey. I wish they would have said I couldn't vote. Your punk ass wouldn't have had the courage to do that. So yeah, in essence, you damn sure ain't our ancestors.
That's right.
So all of those things, the ignorance, the lack of study, the lack of patience, all of that contribute to that immediate gratification. We don't see nothing, so we gonna do it this particular way, and it's just the damn tail wagging the dog.
Yeah, and what's so sad about that is in their ignorance or lack of desire to research and find out who's doing what and how they're doing it, they strike out on their own blindly trying to make something happen. And then when they realize that it's not going anywhere, they don't come back and apologize or try and regroup or talk to somebody who's been around. They just quit.
They just quit.
They just quit.
They just quit, right?
as if the reason they got started in the first place has faded into the darkness. Who just quit? Throw their hands up. All right. So next question. So to advocate, one must be and do what? What must one be in order to be a successful advocate? And what must one do to be a successful advocate?
In order to be successful in terms of being an advocate, you gotta be rooted in those 6 pillars of empowerment: spirituality, culture, education, economics, socioeconomics, and politics. Ain't no other way. See, because when you're not rooted in those 6 pillars, if you take Malcolm, for example, Malcolm was a strong voice for our people. While he was, and the majority of that was during his time with the Nation of Islam. When he breaks from the Nation of Islam in 64, all right? So now he only lives, a few more months, up to 60, 65. So because he was trying to go into that spiritual realm, as we discussed before, some time back, but he didn't make that ultimate thing, transformation. So he was still within that religious realm. He was trying to get into the cultural realm. He was, evolving. And remember, he was just 39. Mm-hmm. And definitely he was on that educational push, but there was no real game plan for the economics. There was no real game plan for the socioeconomics. And he was, in the political realm, but he didn't really understand that. So, because he was a lone wolf, so to speak.
Yeah.
And that was part of his frustration with the Nation of Islam. So even a great voice like Malcolm, when you're not rolling with those 6 pillars of empowerment, your effectiveness of maneuvering is going to be drastically diminished.
Be limited, yeah.
And then the structure of what you're trying to do with your organization, which, as I told you before, he recognized the limitations of his religiosity, although he had not changed. So he created 2 separate organizations when he left the nation, the Muslim Mosque Incorporated and the Organization of Afro-American Unity. And so he recognized it, but as you know, he didn't have no mechanism to fund.
To
fund it, And so you gotta have these things understood completely. And if they're not understood, you're not going to be as effective, even if you are an international figure like Malcolm. You see, because economics, we get into now talking about the manufacturing of a good or service that you are going to go out and transport, store, distribute for consumption by your target audience. Well, if you ain't producing nothing, or you ain't transporting or storing anything, or you ain't distributing a product or service, you're not going to be able to make money, right? And so this was the dilemma. And when you're 39 years old, I can assure you, as brilliant as Malcolm was, and even though he had a cabinet behind him, like Adam Clayton Powell and Dr. John Henry Clark and other people who we may never know, even with that type of intellectual capital supporting you, brother, you at the age of 39, you don't know.
Yeah.
You have to have time to go through this process, and especially when you're being a father and a husband, bro, it's a lot of pressure.
Yeah. And folks trying to off you.
and people trying to kill you. White folks
Lord have mercy. Yeah.
Bro, trying to kill you. So now, when are you? And again, you're still messed up in the mind about rolling with religiosity, trying to be a preacher.
Mm-hmm.
How you gonna be a preacher with Islam and 99% of your Negroes are Christian?
Yes, sir.
So you're in a dilemma within that realm. So he never learned about the real estate game. He never learned about the finance game. He never learned about the import export, where he could really leverage some resources in order to make his thing come to fruition. And since he really was a spiritual brother, he wasn't looking to run a hustle like the Nation of Islam was running, for the benefit of the leadership, in particular Elijah Muhammad. And so how you figure out being an ethical entrepreneur is something that takes a while to learn.
Yeah.
But you need all of those things to be an effective advocate. To truly be an effective advocate, you need the 6 pillars of empowerment. As it relates to being an effective activist, for the most part, just being able to articulate, you can just really have charisma and, have a little courage and literally with your voice on issues, responding to key issues like the cat down there in Houston. What's his name? Quanell X.
Quanell X, yeah.
So you can be like Quanell X, and now you can run hustles to get money.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, really.
And that's what he does.
Yeah.
That's what activists do. But there are some genuine ethical activists out there, but those who typically get in this game and they start to react and respond to issues where most people are afraid to speak, people will give them a few dollars to speak on their behalf on police brutality issues, racial issues, because most people are scared to lose their goddamn job.
Right. Other than Marcus Garvey, I can't recall any Black person who was being an activist or out there trying to move the Black needle forward. I don't think any of them had any kind of business or entrepreneurial support, venture activity other than Marcus Garvey. Did anybody have that kind of business acumen?
Well, the first and who I patterned, and I just finished texting this to somebody today or yesterday. The first, and I always tell you about him, and that is Paul Cuffey.
Yeah, but he wasn't an activist though.
Well, he was an advocate though. He was an advocate. Okay. Because remember now, Garvey gets his whole Black Star Line and Back to Africa movement from Cuffey and Richard Allen.
Sure.
You see, they were advocates. They were solution oriented. They weren't about the jibber jabber in the streets. See, I give Garvey. Garvey was the greatest promoter of Afrocentricity. I mean, he did it.
Yeah.
He never stepped foot on Africa, that's crazy as hell. You promote Africa, but you never went to Africa at some point before you die.
Yeah.
And so he was the marketer, and he was more, of an activist. But those cats, Paul Cuff, Martin Delaney, they had entrepreneurial focus. There were individuals who were on a smaller level, but nationally speaking, Garvey probably is the most notable who was an activist who tried to do some economic things. Okay,
Brother Jeff, who's a member candidate here in Houston, he asked a question. How do you link, I'm asking because it links to what we're talking about, he just asked it. How do you link spirituality in this? Are you saying that we must all share a particular spiritual belief to be a connected advocate?
Spirituality ain't got nothing to do with a belief. See, that's the unfortunate concept that's been put out there. Spirituality is a power. It is your power source that exists inside of you. It is the power source that exists inside of you that connects you to the creator and to the ancestors. And so it has to be unlocked, unleashed, and activated. It's your power, it's your protection, and it lays the foundation for your purpose. That's what spirituality is. Has nothing to do with any kind of police. So, you know, this is one of the confusing things about the concept of spirituality, because when people talk about it, they really are talking about theology.
Yeah, belief systems.
They're talking about religion.
Yeah.
They're not talking about spirituality.
Right.
Those are two totally different things.
Mm-hmm.
And this is where this thing is confusing. But spirituality is the power that has already been born inside of you. It just has to be unlocked, unleashed, and activated. And the only way you can unlock, unleash, and activate your spiritual power, you got to unlock, unleash, and activate your third eye.
Mm-hmm.
If you never unlock, unleash, and activate your third eye, your mind, and you can, you know, get with this whole, you know, pineal gland and all. Look, the mind is something that is an intangible, abstract thing. And you can try to make it tangible to the damn pineal gland if you want to. But I can assure you that this is the human computer software. That's the best I can tell it to you. It's an abstract thing that comes from the creator. If you never unlock, unleash, and activate that, you're never going to be able to unlock, unleash, and activate your spirituality. So you're going to be stuck believing that spirituality is some kind of belief system. Ifa, Yoruba, Islam, Christianity. Hell no. Ain't got a goddamn thing to do with spirituality. The spirituality is your power source, your protection source from the forces of evil, and it aligns you with your macro and your micro purposes. If you never tap into that, then you're never going to figure out how to effectively move. It is the most important pillar of the 6 pillars of empowerment.
Which is why it's number one.
Spirituality,
Yeah.
Without spirituality, you cannot have right, you're not going to establish right culture because you're not going to connect to the organic culture that our people started before tribalism came into play.
Yeah.
Because that is what has completely messed our asses up. And we believe some kind of, it's good to have 9,000 goddamn languages on the continent of Africa and throughout. Ain't nothing good about that. The more you water yourself down, the weaker you become.
Yeah, you can't communicate with each other. Yeah. Simply,
if everybody's battling every goddamn body, the enemy now comes in and gobbles all y'all's ass up. This is real bad.
As they did.
Yeah. As they continue to do.
Yeah, amen, amen. Okay, so next question. A bit of a shift. What does the term public policy, what does it mean, or what is it? What is public policy? What does it mean?
So when we talk about policy, we're talking about rules, regulations, things that create structure for organization, for household, whether you're in the private sector, public sector, personal, whatever, you know. So when we talk about public policy, we're specifically talking about rules, regulations, structure for either local, state, federal, or international government, period. So within the public policy realm, these are rules that's going to control everything that goes on. At the local level, it could be dealing with your damn stop sign, whether or not you got a stop sign up versus a traffic light up, what the speed limit is going to be, how the insurance is going to be dealt. All of that's public policy. Whether or not you can drink at the age of 18 or 21, whether or not you can carry a gun or not carry a gun, whether or not you got to pay for a gun, everything that impacts your goddamn life is involving public policy. Your insurance, life insurance, health insurance, public schools, private schools, goddamn burial, how much your goddamn taxes you gonna pay on your eyelashes and your goddamn weave. Everything is regulated by public policy.
And why is having that knowledge so important? Why is it so important to understand what public policy is?
Because now, when you learn what it is, and you get mad because they say, well, damn, this has to happen, and you don't like it. Now, if you learn how public policy, what it is, and how it works, you can mobilize, organize people to say, you know what, we need to change that.
Yeah, for real.
Want to complain about it is learning how to put the people in place who actually share your views that now can go and work with others. Because it ain't just about one person. It's about controlling a vote. That's why, what do I always say? We lose any thought of controlling public policy where? At the state, federal, and international level.
Right, because we don't have them numbers.
You ain't got the numbers.
Right.
That's why you got to focus at the local level in majority African-American cities so that you can now do what? Have individuals of like minds on the city council, on the Parish County Commission, on the school board. So now if you want to restructure how the law enforcement works within the police department, the sheriff department, the marshal's department, now what? Police department. Mayor recommends the police chief, the city council confirms. Well, if you're controlling the legislative branch and the executive branch, you now can determine policy for the police department. How about the sheriff department? That's an elected position. So now if you mobilize, organize your people, get the right individual who has a grassroots mindset, get him or her elected, guess what? You can now change public policy within the sheriff department. And the same goes for the marshal's department, because that's an elected position in most cities. You see? So, but you never understand that everything, how much you gonna pay for your speeding ticket, whether or not they're gonna put a boot on your goddamn car, how much the parking ticket, all of that is public policy. Whether or not you pay for parking, downtown or not, public policy. Okay? How much your property tax is gonna be, public policy. Whether or not you pay state income tax or not, public policy. How much the goddamn water is gonna cost, public policy. What they're putting in your water, public policy. Get it?
Yep.
How much your damn watermelon gonna cost? How much your Cushaw is gonna goddamn cost? How much the pork chop gonna cost? Public policy.
Got it. And do you think, your position is that most of our activists don't understand it because they've simply never been taught that?
Haven't been taught and don't want to goddamn learn, because they really believe in their irrational emotionalism that the game is to complain. That's what they really believe activism is.
It's complaining. Yeah, sadly. Yep. Okay, so if you missed the beginning of the show, you listened to and watching the Revolutionary Code, where we bring the truth about how government and politics actually works in every facet of human existence and how that affects our people, black people here in America, Africa, and the diaspora. Tonight's show is our 88th episode and is titled The Economics of Grassroots Empowerment Advocacy. My name is Tamani Mwandani. I'm the founder of the Black Gold Nation, and my co-host is Brother Craig B. Lee, who is our chief consultant for political strategy and implementation, as well as adult education. So Brother Craig, next question. What kind of system is this American system? What kind of system are we living in America?
What kind of system is this? Sort of diabolical, evil, twisted, highly complex, plutocratic, gangster, devastating system.
Okay.
Gang. It's which makes it completely damn near impossible for the majority of people to ever, I'm talking about even your greatest mind. Because, bro, your mind got to be so fluid to comprehend all of the complexities of this.
It'll be like water,
It got to be like water.
That's right.
And if you don't know how to critically think, which most people don't even know how to think, there's no way. I mean, these people can play games with you on so many different levels, and you'll never figure it out.
Yeah.
And so it's a very complex, complicated, diabolical, evil, twisted, savage, gangster game.
Yeah. And how is capitalism practiced in America? In the midst of all that, how is capitalism practiced in America?
Capitalism is a system. Is both economic and political, and it is a system that is predicated on the creation, the maintenance, and expansion of a permanent underclass. And what they do, what the architects and the engineers, I like to define who the they are.
Sure.
The architects, the engineers, and the managers of the philosophy, the system, and the game of capitalistic white supremacy. What they do is give the illusion of free enterprise.
Yeah.
They give the illusion of it while simultaneously preventing it the higher you go up. So the soft spot at the local level, if you really understand free enterprise, because that's our Afrocentric philosophy of economics, free enterprise. You create a product, service, and you go and market it, and you generate, some form of currency, or you barter with somebody else who has another product or service that you need or desire. And so at the micro grassroots level, there's a soft spot. But when you now try to go and you want to be on Forbes and you want to be on Fortune and all of this, I want to be recognized. Bruh, stop. Because none of those people who you see, whether it be Oprah Winfrey, Bob Johnson, it don't mean that they're not smart. It don't mean that they've not worked hard, but all of them have had to tap dance as relates to maneuvering within going through a plutocratic construct in order to generate those dollars. And now that they're billionaires, they're more afraid of doing something for their own people than when their ass was broke. Yeah. So that's why I always ask the question, how much money do you need before you can say that you're Black or do something Black? Because it seems like the Negro, the more money that they acquire, the more impotent they become, the more spineless, the more fearful they become. And here you get a pale skin, they get goddamn money, and they say, what can we take over next? Let me see, we've taken over countries. Oh, that's right, let's take over space.
What, the next frontier? That's right. Yeah.
The Negro like, oh, I don't want to lose my money. And they're always constantly talking about taking over. They want to go take over goddamn the planet that they have falsely branded as Uranus. Let's go take that mother. Well, we don't know if we can go up there. Goddamn it, let's create some technology. Negroes like, oh.
Right. So you said that capitalism is both an economic and political system.
Yeah.
Explain that relationship, economics and politics.
Well, remember, the definition of politics is not merely one around government.
Mm-hmm.
It is about personal and group agendas. So when you understand what politics is, concepts to leverage your personal or group agenda. That's what politics is.
That's right.
And so now within the economic system of manufacturing, production, transportation, storage, distribution, and consumption, guess what exists inside of all of those goddamn things?
Politics, yeah. Yeah. So I'm sorry, go ahead. You about to say something else?
So some of those politics deals with personal and group agendas
Mm-hmm.
that operate and exist under a governmental construct, whether it's at the local, state, federal level. You say, well, Craig, what do you mean when you say that? So I'm gonna give you a prime example. There's a white boy here in the city of Shreveport. He owns your largest liquor store. And it's a great example. Great example. He owns this company called Thrifty Liquor. Rich. And he wanted to put a liquor store in South Shreveport on Burt Coons, and the land, he had already acquired the land, had already graded it, and he wanted to put his nice thrifty liquor store out there. Well, it might be 3 to 4 tenths of a mile around the corner from the land is a white church called Calvary. Now, because he's rich now, the Metropolitan Planning Commission had already okayed the deal. The zoning board had already okayed the deal. So it was just gonna be a formality for the city council to okay the deal until the white folks at Calvary, who got money too,
Mm-hmm.
and it's not just one of them,
It's
it's a group of rich people.
Yeah.
So now you got a group of rich people going against one rich white person.
Mm-hmm.
Who you think won that deal?
The
Who
one
you
rich,
think
the one rich white person?
Hell no.
Oh, the group won it.
Group of white folks.
Yeah.
The group of white folks didn't want the damn liquor store to be built.
Yeah.
So it wasn't built.
Yeah.
Look at how clever the one rich white boy. And what if you go on Burt Coons right now?
Thrifty liquor.
The store's there. So you think, wait a minute. Did the church move? Hell nah. Well, how in the hell did the white boy finally get the liquor store? Woo! So the white boy had all this property. So he found out that Walmart wanted to put a store in the area. So he had the land, not to do a super Walmart, but to do a neighborhood Walmart.
Mm-hmm.
So he had the connections. And so he said, because now they done put neighborhoods over there.
Yeah.
And they want a neighborhood Walmart.
Right.
So what the white boy do? In order to get the neighborhood Walmart, he politicked Walmart to say what? This liquor store needs to go with the goddamn Walmart.
Mm-hmm.
So what did the rich white folks at the church do now?
Go to Walmart. Yeah.
So the liquor store is up.
Yeah. Yeah.
See, that's politics within economics.
Yeah. Got it.
And
So
it's politics within the governmental system, but his agenda was to get that goddamn store maneuvered, and it was blocked initially.
mm-hmm.
So he came back and figured out, oh, I gotta make this so desirable. I gotta make the deal so desirable that the white boys at the church will grant permission.
Yeah. And they did.
That damn stove made it out.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, I just get a high.
So,
Overdue.
so the title of tonight's show, as a reminder, is The Economics of Grassroots Empowerment Advocacy. Next question, Brother Craig. Can any grassroots group advance their cause without capital?
Hell no. Impossible.
And can one create public policy without economics? And if not, why not?
We exist in a criminal system.
Yes, sir.
A gangster, evil, diabolical system that is predicated on capital.
Mm-hmm.
Without capital, I don't give a damn what kind of program, what kind of project, what kind of business you desire to do. You will not be able to do anything in this game without capital. I don't care what it is. I don't care if you're at the most rudimentary level on the local level. You still, even if you want to go and get some goddamn backpacks, okay? You gotta have capital. If you want to go give backpacks out, I get so sick and tired of these damn backpacks every school year. But if you want to get some backpacks out, you still got to be able to have capital to leverage that. Whether it be your partnership with another group who has capital or somebody gives you got to have capital.
Mm-hmm.
There's no way to get around.
Yeah.
And so you go back to the Black Panther Party, again, they had to figure out capital. So because they didn't understand economics, right? They now get caught up in the whole communism, socialism push. So now they started selling Mao Zedong books and all this kind of foolishness. And so, but they recognize they got to generate money.
Mm-hmm.
And so once they politically align themselves with the wrong groups, now certain money start to come in, but now your political message and your politics is, so you gotta have capital to control your voice, your message, and your politics. Ain't no way to get around.
Right. So what kind of economic resources are needed to advance a grassroots public policy?
It depends on the local, if it's a local agenda or a state agenda.
Mm-hmm.
If it's a local agenda, and depending on what the initiative is, it could be something simple, a few thousand dollars to put into the hands of certain grassroots activists, partnershiping with grassroots advocates to create the political theater, create the pressure that now brings certain light to situations in order to get that passed.
Mm-hmm.
Ultimately, you would have to sit down with even the opposing legislators and enlighten them as to your position, knowing that they more than likely are going to vote against your situation, but you do that strategically so that they can't say that you didn't meet with them.
Yeah.
And now that allows you to gauge their personal perspectives on certain things, although you know that they are being funded by certain entities that don't want to see the overall growth.
Right. And
so at the local level, a few $1,000s depending on the deal. Mm-hmm. At the state level, now you're talking some money. Mm-hmm. Because now you got to have votes, not only like the city level, you got city council that is the end all to be all to the budget. You got the parish county board, end all to be all, and the school board, end all to be all. But now you get to the state and the federal level, now you got a House and a Senate.
Mm-hmm.
That's a lot of people you got to maneuver with.
Yeah.
See, that's why the billions of dollars are put into the lobbying game.
Mm-hmm.
You see, you got to be able to stroke a lot of folks.
Right.
You got to be able to, and so that's why you don't worry about really trying to push macro legislation at the state and the federal level. What you do is you work with your Congress people and your Senate people, even if they're Klansmen, you work with them. Why? Because if you're controlling your local territory, now you're getting them to lobby for programs, projects in your local territory. So now you can get those type of deals done, and it makes them look good. Because, for example, I was in Houston the other week, right, for our Xavier alumni, our National Alumni Association conference. Well, there was something real bad that went down for graduation this year. A white senator from Louisiana received an honorary doctorate. Dr. William, what's I said her name? Not Cooksey. I'll think about it in a minute. Cassidy, Dr. William Cassidy, Bill Cassidy. And so, man, people were hot because the whole abortion issue was going on, and he had made some statements, and sisters didn't like that. So Xavier was giving him a doctorate. So again, there were politics behind that, but the politics did not come out. That information was not disseminated to the alumni chapters, the presidents, the leadership, or the national. So a lot of people were pissed off, right? Well, we found out what the politics were at the national meeting. And like I told the group, shit, I understand. You know what the politics were?
No.
You want to know?
Yeah.
Xavier, in order to get certain infrastructure done, we had to take out $100 million loan at the federal level. So guess what we were trying to do in a very intelligent way? Get that loan.
That's right. Yeah. Hey man, politics.
So Bill Cassidy needed to look good that he was not what? A racist.
That's right. Yeah.
It's quid pro quo.
Yeah.
And see, these are the things, but you gotta let your people know. Now, would it have made a difference? Man, Negroes are so trivial in their mind. And guess what? We only have right now, and it's one of the highest alumni givings in the country, 14%.
That's low, man. Lord have mercy. Yeah, and that's one of the highest, but that's low.
Yeah, most of them are lower than that.
Yeah, I know.
So how you gonna complain about Xavier strategically maneuvering
14%.
to write off $100 million when your punk ass?
Y'all ain't giving it. Yeah, I got it. All right, so.
All right, keep on.
Okay. So next question. So how does a grassroots empowerment advocate, how do they go about getting these kinds of economic resources that they need on a local level to fund some of their projects and to get ready for the next upcoming race? So how do they get these economic resources that they need to make this thing happen?
First, you got to become a culture social entrepreneur. You got to have some form of business endeavor to sustain yourself while you're advocating, while you're even doing activism work. You got to be able to do that.
Yep.
Why? Because that starts to give you visibility. And now, simple things that you can do, projects that you can do, getting some simple wins, public policy wins. Now, and being consistent now, being consistent and being sustainable. Okay.
Being consistent and what?
Sustainable.
Sustainable. Okay, I got it.
You got to sustain yourself.
Yeah, I can dig it. Yeah.
And so being consistent, being sustainable with your own enterprise. Now you're advocating. You got a few people rolling with you. So now people see you. Your brand is being established. So now you can put a call out to say, boom, each year I need to get $50 from 3,000, 4,000 people. And unlike the church who wants the money every week or throughout the goddamn week, you can take a grassroots person and a legitimate grassroots person and give them $50 contribution once a year. And if 5,000 people gave that person or invested in that person, I don't even want to say gave, because you're investing in that individual to do the work that they need to do, that you now have seen that's already been proven.
Yep.
Okay. That's 250,000.
Yes, sir.
Now you under my format, I give a product out within a $10 range. And so I account for that. So if it's 5,000 people contributing $50, $10 times 5,000, that's 50,000. So boom, I'll end up netting 200,000 to money. Bruh, I move mountains with 20,000.
Yeah, with just 20,000, yeah.
With 200,000, bro, bro,
you can move 2 mountains.
Bro, we move planet.
I got
right?
it. I got it.
That's how you end up doing it. Because there's 2 types of work that you're doing. You're doing the entrepreneurial work to be sustainable and push your agendas on a consistent basis. And then you're leveraging resources as people contribute so you can do the public policy work and the other empowerment work to help liberate, empower, and advance your people.
Got it. So how long have you been teaching about the economics of grassroots empowerment advocacy? How long have you been trying to get Black people to realize this thing, approximately?
Well, really, for the most part, it's just been recently, you guys, because this is not a conversation that you have with our people in general. This is for people who are really into learning how to do grassroots empowerment work.
Okay.
And so it wouldn't be necessary for me to have the conversation with people who are not trying to do the grassroots empowerment work. So I'd say over the past maybe 10 years.
10 years. So would you say the reception to what you're trying to get people to understand, is it a good reception? Does low percentage are getting it? What does that look like at the end of the day of you trying to teach this?
Well, I mean, it's a good reception because I'm only talking to a few people, and you and I've had conversations.
Oh yeah.
You've been very warm to receive the information, but you have to figure out what projects, what programs, what businesses that can become a daunting task. You know what I'm saying? But like I gave you the information, I focus on 5 industries.
That's right.
Food and beverage, entertainment, culture, tourism, wholesale products, and cultural.
And really quickly, Brother Craig, why 5? Why not 3? Why not 4? Why not 6? Why 5?
Well, I mean, that's just what the creator gave me. Those industries there, and see, I have 5 projects or business ventures in those 5 arenas. But these 5 that I identified, these are the 5 industries that I know you can do business with African descendants in America without them putting you on a higher plateau to outperform your white counterpart.
Okay.
They'll still do business with you with the food. If you got solid product, whatever, they'll give you the money. They'll still go and spend money with you, whether it be edutaining or entertaining. How do we know that? What just happened over the past few days last week?
What, Juneteenth?
What
4th of July?
What happened right around 4th of July?
I don't know.
Essence Fest.
Oh, okay.
That's a $100 million event in the city of New Orleans.
Okay.
So Negroes,
sure.
Gas being $92 a gallon, and food prices being high as hell, Negroes still gonna go spend them goddamn dollars.
$92.
When it comes to culture, tourism,
yes, sir.
Damn, food and beverage, they're gonna spend the money.
Yeah.
It's proven.
Yeah.
And in a few months, we're gonna have what? The Bayou Classic.
Mm-hmm.
You see? Now you're gonna start to have the other football games. This is proven.
Yeah.
Everything I'm saying is proven.
Yeah.
So So when you have those kind of events, you got culture tourism going on, while you got the food and beverage going on, while you got the entertainment/edutainment going on, and other things going on, merchandising and whatnot, all that's going on simultaneously. So that's kind of like how I looked at it when I asked the creator to guide me in terms of my economic agenda for my grassroots empowerment advocacy entrepreneurship, in order to navigate that. And so those things, even though my background is marketing, economics, finance, those marketing, economics goes into, and finance goes into each one of those industries.
Sure. Yeah.
Those industries allow me to now operate again. So then I can leverage resources there, and then I can diversify and get back into finance and get into real estate and get into other things.
Right.
But for the most part, those industries don't have a lot of barriers to entry, because I go after contract because that's now politics, right?
Yeah.
On the front, I have to do hand-to-hand combat with our people and operate in the private sector. And so once I started doing the meat pies, that's a beautiful one. Because now, let's help this Negro out with buying a meat pie. We see him on TV.
Right. He's famous. I got it. Okay.
From TV.
All right. So if last question, you can only get one takeaway from tonight's show that people would have with them for the rest of their lives, those who are watching live, those who watch the recording. One takeaway based on everything we've talked about tonight. What would that one takeaway be?
You cannot be a legitimate activist, and for damn sure, you cannot be a legitimate advocate without having resources, without having financial and human resources to help you navigate. It's impossible. And what you'll end up doing is becoming a pawn in a game because you don't know how to generate income. And you got to be able to generate income. And also, even though I didn't say it like this, our people got to stop promoting the concept of being a poor righteous teacher.
Oh yeah.
That's retarded, because you can be righteous and be financially independent, because the only way that you're going to do the programs and projects, if the goddamn if you're not funding the empowerment programs and projects, who's going to fund the goddamn programs and projects?
I don't know.
Oh, that's right. We're going to complain to the plutocrats, the oligarchs, and the aristocrats, and make them shake their pockets.
Yeah.
And then, so now who are you subject to?
Yeah. Those who gave you that money. Yes, sir.
I work 3 entities. This is why this is easy. Some people I've heard, some people say I work for the Fed. Because it's like, how can this Negro say these things and he's never gone to jail? It's real simple. I work for 3 entities. I work for the Creator, the ancestors, and grassroots people. It's really that simple. And in working for grassroots people, I gotta be able to sell products or provide services that can leverage the resources that I need to then do the work that's going to help empower them. Whether it be dads on duty, whether it be lace, whether it be paid, my political campaign, regardless of what project it is, CC Antoine, whatever it is. And so you gotta have resources. So we gotta stop talking the foolishness about being a poor righteous teacher and embrace becoming a cultural, social entrepreneur, meaning you're not driven by profit. You're not driven by profit. You're not a capitalist, but you recognize and understand that you have to generate revenues and profit in order to first liberate, empower, and advance your cultural group before you then go into general society and help empower and advance general society. That is what I want people to leave here with.
Got it. Dig it. Okay, cool. So on that note, that concludes tonight's show. We didn't do too bad for a last minute hookup to get it together.
I'm always on deck.
It ended up pretty well. All right. So does anybody have a question or comment for Brother Craig before we close this thing out? Any question or comment from anybody?
Yeah. First and foremost, Brother Craig, as always, the delivery is animated, but and dynamic, but straightforward and truthful.
Thank you.
Pretty much, it's an ongoing. This is an ongoing education and a reminder of what we have to keep in mind. Even, July 4th. You know what I mean? I mean, people thought I was off the chart when I text people by Frederick Douglass, what it mean to a slave, and in terms of July, and just even now, they're trying to disrupt the Civil Rights Act in 1871, utilizing now they're trying to utilize the 13th Amendment to help bring back Roe and all that other stuff. The reality is that even for us woke, or that new term, or the race, critical race theory crew, even as much as we're now, it's still so much more out there that we don't know about. And this is probably more of a basic question, but in terms of helping others to see the light, what do you see the best technique? Because folks are so reactionary that they're so caught up with Black Lives Matter and other things that are so surface based. So I'm not viewed as some hack or kook or some type of huckster. I'm just, and I don't really care. It's just that like the Jehovah's Witness said, I'm gonna be part of the 144,000. So if you don't get it, I'm gonna get it. So what is your suggestion? Because I sow the seed of righteousness, but I let the Creator give the increase. I can't worry about whether you get it now. And I'm talking about my mom and daddy on down, because we come from a Catholic family. So I'm just trying to figure out a way, how do you, I don't want to win an argument, I want to win the person and still have an engagement with the person with the argument. So this is how this is done. And this is proven bona fide. And this is also why I cut off doing a lot of training with young folks here in the city of Shreveport. Unless I hand select you, I'm not dealing with you, because most of these cats don't want to listen, and they really believe, again, when they don't see all of these direct things in front of them, they believe no work has been done. And so the way that you do this, Mike, is just doing the physical work. You say, well, what do you mean? There's a young guy who was at the Xavier conference, and I'm looking at, he sent me a message on our good partner Chantel Shackelford's post that she did of us. And he said, this man is one memorable character. He used the word character. And so now he used the term because I got in his ass at our lunch table when he said that he was a financial planner, because he didn't know that I'm a former municipal bond broker. So I already know, like, dude, stop with that. Good little dude, but at the end of the day, I lit him up on purpose. And so he had the courage to come over at another event the other week and reference and talk to me. And so he wrote, "This man is one memorable character." So without saying anything, I started just posting photos of work.
I started posting photos of work, right? It's damn 100 goddamn photos. It's 100. Hit him with a one hitter, two hitter. I mean, just hit him with combination. And this is what I told him once I hit him with 100. He couldn't even respond. Now. This is what I told him. I look forward to hearing from you and giving you some elder, intellectual gangster wisdom.
There you go.
Understanding, knowledge, and overstanding from the booth. Then I hit him with some more news articles. And so I told him, always remember, Devon, it's easy to vet any individual, just analyze their resume,
References,
receipt, and references.
There you go.
Okay? So, see, when you create the physical work, Brother Mike, I'm not even a Christian. But them Christians be inviting me into their church. You say, wait a minute, Craig, you're a Muslim, right? Hell no, goddamn Muslim. I'm not Muslim, I'm not Christian, I'm not Hindu, I'm a spiritual black man. Hence why I can tell you what spirituality is and what it is not. And so being a spiritual black man, I unlocked, unleashed, and activated my third eye back when you and I were at Xavier 38 years ago this year for me. And when I unlocked, unleashed, and activated my third eye, I was able to unlock, unleash, and activate my spirituality. And so it's been about the work. I don't give a damn if you're a Christian, Muslim, or whatever. You can't deny work.
Right.
You can't deny work.
Yep.
You get caught up in all the philosophical, whatever, the work. And so now, when they see the work, it's like, hey, Brother Craig, you'll never hear me diss any Negro preacher. You ain't gonna hear me diss any Negro imam. I don't get caught up in that foolishness.
There's no need for it.
It's no need for it.
Yes, sir.
Because I'm gonna do the work. And now when I put out the request from the Christians primarily to get a percentage of their disposable income, a percentage of their vote, a percentage of their intellectual capital, whether it be their labor and or idea, and the positive promotion for my programs, projects, and business venture, all I need is 40% of them to roll. I don't need all of them to roll.
Right.
40%. Now what's gonna happen? I'm now gonna do what was brought out in the Malcolm X movie. You remember that movie, Brother Mike? When Elijah Muhammad character took a clean glass of water and he put some ink in it, and he said, you give this to them, they'll drink. Then he took another glass of water, poured water in it. You give this to them, they'll drink. You let the people decide which one they want to drink from. We know they don't know how to think. We know they don't know how to critically think. And that's very frustrating for a lot of grassroots people. Why? Because they know the people are being pimped and played. But what these Negroes want to do, so-called grassroots activists, so-called woke folks, they want their theoretical concepts to now be accepted because they've read more books. They've goddamn gone to more African lectures.
Yep.
Okay? But they ain't doing no goddamn work. Part of the work is studying, yes. Part of the work is researching and analyzing, yes. But that's not the work that is going to transform the minds of enslaved people. So you do the physical work. And some of this you have to allow yourself to be kind of sort of disrespected. You know, I go to church. Oh, the only way you going to heaven, got to be a Christian. Got to believe in Jesus. I'd have been to about 500 goddamn Negro Christians. They say the same thing. A lot of Negroes get so pissed off, they don't go.
Yep.
Okay, I submit myself to getting disrespected. Boom. Saturday, our biggest soul singer died the other day. One of my good friend girls. And I was just going through making posts the other day, and her first cousin and her mother were there together. They called me, Craig, we want you to speak at the funeral. I ain't no goddamn Christian. You understand what I'm saying, Mike? I'm not no Christian. So why they want me to speak at the funeral? Craig, you and Big Baby, y'all work together in the community. You always had her perform at the CC Antoine. Big Baby performed at my first wedding reception in Shreveport. You see? So I just do the work. Mm-hmm. If you do the work, then it ain't gonna matter. You now let the folks decide if they want to still roll with Reverend Chickenfoot or you want to roll with the Grassroots Advocate. And so I don't get mad at these folks no more. Just give me a percentage of your disposable income. Give me a percentage of your vote. Give me a percentage of your intellectual capital, either labor and or idea, and positively promote my programs, projects, and businessmen. Because guess what's going to happen when they do that? They're going to now enrich me, my organization, and we're now going to take over the goddamn city and the parish. Yep. And as long as they've been investing in us, I don't care what your religion is, Christian, right, Muslim, Hindu, whatever, we going to roll with the people who roll with us. Yep. That's how you do that, brother.
And they benefit from the work that they benefit from their work that you're putting in.
Exactly.
At this point. Yes, sir.
It ain't no other way. So,
yep.
Our positioning statement for Dads on Duty is transforming minds to shine. But our chairman loved the saying that I always say, just do the work. He said, Craig, that needs to be one of our another positioning statement for another tagline. I say, what? He said, just do the work. I say, exactly. Yeah, and that's what I always say, just do the work.
Just do the work. Yeah, and it's hard to argue against the work, especially when you bring receipts of the work. So when you were sending those articles to the young brother, he had to be like, hey, okay, bro, man, I get it. Okay, I get it. Okay, I get it. Yeah.
And he didn't want me to send him my Series 6 and 63 from goddamn 1993, because this boy is only I think he's only like right at 30. Let me see. Yeah, he graduated in 2000, and I think he said he graduated in 2000 and something. It ain't been too long ago.
2012, 2011, something like that. Somewhere in there.
It ain't been too long ago. So he's in his late 20s or whatever. So I want you to think about that. I got my Series 6 and 63 in 1993. This Negro wasn't even born. I got my L&H, my life and health license, in 1997. You might have been like three or four. Okay.
Been there, done that.
Okay, we have been there, we done done that. So he hasn't even responded.
He hasn't responded at all? Oh, wow.
Hell no. Because see, I do shocking. I'm like the goddamn United States government. I do shocking all your
Shocking all, yeah.
I do shocking all. I'm gonna hit your ass so hard, and I'm gonna give you wise elder counsel, and I'm gonna see if your ass is gonna respond.
Yeah, and it's unfortunate because most people's ego won't allow them to accept that, they had to get slapped upside the head, but you can learn from that and grow from it and be better. But people's egos won't allow them to come back and do that, which is unfortunate.
Tamani, if I had anybody who had my skill set, who had tapped in to the spiritual, the cultural, the education, the economic, the social, political, who was trying to mentor me, bro, I would have been, hey man, what do I do? I've never had that.
Right.
And so I've been piecemealing positive situations together, Malcolm, Garvey, and then, run across some positive elders coming up, coaches, band directors,
Mhm.
and but I've never had a direct mentor, so to
Right.
speak.
Right.
Boy, if I would have had somebody like me, ooh, dang.
All right. So give us your well, I guess you kind of already did it, but anyway, give us your closing comments before we close out.
I mean, that's basically it. I mean, we just, again, you got to. This is multidimensional work
Mhm.
that goes on from a culture, social, entrepreneurial standpoint, culture, social, engineering standpoint, and like I said in this thing I sent to y'all today, you know, I came up with another professional occupation for me. I'm a survivalist as well. I study
Survivalologist.
a survivalist.
Okay, I got it.
A survivalist, I study savages.
Oh, okay. Oh, survival. Okay, I think you meant survival, but you mean savage. Okay, I got it.
Yeah, survivalist, savage.
Okay.
I'm a zoologist. I study the behavior of animals and humans, and a survivalist, similar, but you're specializing in the research, study, analysis, and problem solving for savages. So you got to have all of this working.
Yeah.
In order to now maneuver so that you can be self-sustaining, and now you can do the empowerment work to help change public policy for the benefit of your people.
Amen. All right. So on that note, as always, we thank you guys for being a part of the show. We appreciate it. Always remember two things: that no one can do everything, but if everyone does something, everything will get done. And lastly, nothing is more secret than the empowerment and freedom of Black people. So on that note, you guys have a good evening. We hope to see y'all next week. Peace.